Tonight on Taskforce Geek, we're going to be talking about Oscar Isaac, who may be playing Moon Knight on Disney+. We'll talk about our favorite personal Halloween costumes of all time. There's an announcement on the Last Starfighter sequel. We'll talk a little bit about that. And we'll discuss the new game, Crimson Woods, that just launched on Kickstarter with creator Josh Bryan. Plus, it's our Halloween show. So happy Halloween. And that's all coming up now. Happy Halloween and welcome to Taskforce Geek. My name is Dark Hooper, and tonight I am joined, as always, by Scott.
Howdy.
That's good. And Sean.
Yep.
And our guest, Josh Bryan. How you doing?
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here tonight. All of the stories or questions that we're talking about tonight were shared on the Taskforce Geek Quora space and the Taskforce Geek Facebook group. The Quora space now has, by the way, let's get this going. This right now has 546,000 followers on it. Now, look, before I go on to this, because I always go off of this quickly, it has 546,000 followers. Let's say that you just launched, for example, a game called Crimson Woods, and you are doing a Kickstarter, and you're looking for a little bit of publicity for that. Well, I happen to be the guy who approves all of the stuff that's on that. So if you have a Kickstarter or you have a comic book or you want to promote something, you might not send the direct link to the Kickstarter because that's going to look like an ad. But if you have a link to a Facebook group or a website where you can talk about whatever it is and say, by the way, we're running a Kickstarter right now, I will approve that and I'll put you in front of a big ton of people. You should do that. You can also put your posts on our Facebook group, which is right there. We are broadcasting live from my Facebook account, which is that right there, on Twitch, which is that right there, and on YouTube, which is that right there. If you see us on any of those platforms, then please share it, and then your platform becomes our platform. All right. Are you guys ready to... Wait a minute. We already have... Through no surprise. We already have a couple of comments. Let's see what it is. It's Walt saying hello.
Hello. Hello.
And Jeree says, hey, guys.
Yep. Hey.
Happy Halloween to everyone. And we're going to go to our first gig. All right. Oscar Isaac is in talks to star in the Marvel series Moon Knight at Disney Plus. Variety has learned. Moon Knight tells the story of Marc Spector. Oh, by the way, I could probably put this on there. How about this? Moon Knight tells the story of Marc Spector, an elite soldier and mercenary who decides to fight crime after he becomes the human avatar of Khonshu, the Egyptian god of the moon. The role would mark a return of sorts to Marvel for Isaac, who previously starred in X-Men Apocalypse, though that film was released prior to Marvel reacquiring the film rights to the X-Men franchise. Isaac is also no stranger to working with Disney, as he starred in the recent Star Wars trilogy as Resistance fighter Poe Dameron. So the question to the group is, do you know or care about Moon Knight? Do you think Oscar Isaac is a good fit for that character? If you know the character, or do you like Oscar Isaac, whatever? And is there anything else you think the story says about Disney's plan? And for that, first, I'm going to go to Nosferatu Prime.
I think this is great. I think we didn't get to see Oscar Isaac. I mean, like, we all wanted Poe Dameron to kind of like be this cool kind of character, and he was just okay in Star Wars, if you ask my opinion. So I think it'd be great to actually like get some movies that I'm interested that he's playing in, or a TV series, I guess at this point. I think this is good casting. I'd love to see this. Moon Knight's been around since the 70s. He's an old Marvel character that's gone through many, many different kind of iterations. Everything kind of remains the same. He's kind of like crazy Batman in white. So that's kind of the gist of it. And there's been different takes on it,
a good
off
rundown.
and on here. So yeah, I'm kind of excited for this. Once again, I'm asking Disney Plus, please keep these episodes about 40 minutes each, so I will watch it. Because if you start going hour and a half episodes, it will probably just lose me. So keep it like The Mandalorian. Keep good stuff. You can have part one, part twos. You can have things continue over. But I like that time period of like, hey, I only need you here for 40 minutes, 30 minutes, stuff like that. So that's my opinion.
Cool. Sean, we're going to you next.
Well, unlike Scott, I'll take a 5-hour episode if that's what you're going to get.
Wow.
Won't bother me a bit. As far as I'm just ragging on you, Scott.
That's okay.
The Oscar Isaac as Moon Knight. That's an interesting choice. I would not have picked him for that role. I am excited to see Moon Knight show. I'm excited to see what they do with the character, and especially what they do inside the MCU with that character. Yeah, bring it on. I'm glad to see Oscar getting some love from the cinematic universe. He's done all these really cool genre films, and he still seems to be kind of a silent actor off in the background. No one really recognizes. I'm hoping this will really put him on the map, so to speak.
Well, I think too that like he's an American actor, but he's got some, what is it, Guatemalan in him or something. He's not an average white guy, is what I'm trying to get at here.
Sure.
So maybe they can tie in that like Egyptian Fist of Khonshu type stuff into his background, because he's just not a plain Jane white guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, it's kind of neat.
Josh, what do you think?
Yeah, so love Moon Knight. I'm a huge Punisher fan. So Moon Knight is probably like my next line down for Punisher, because he's essentially almost the same exact type of character, except that he gets his powers from the, like Scott was saying, the special Egyptian god.
Right.
So I'm stoked to see a Moon Knight series, period. I think Oscar's going to be great. I think someone had posted somewhere saying that, Shia LaBeouf was in the running at first as well. And I thought, not to knock him, that he would have done well also. But Oscar, I think, is going to knock it out of the park, and I can't wait to see it. I hope Disney Plus does it in the same vein as, like everybody's saying, Mandalorian. I think it'll be great, and can't wait to see it. It's going to be awesome.
I want to point out that Oscar Isaac also was Spider-Man 2099 in the Spider-Verse movie. So this is his third Marvel character, and obviously nice. the one that's going to have his face in it and all that sort of stuff. It's also, I think it is kind of funny that Oscar Isaac hasn't had like a big name role, and he's kind of a big deal. I mean, he's a top tier actor. I think it's interesting that they're getting him for a Disney Plus show. I think what that does is it shows that basically Disney is all in on this streaming thing right now, because it's the only thing that they can count on. They are not going to get Oscar Isaac for a cheap price for their television show, so they're obviously willing to invest in that. I think that's very interesting. I also think that Oscar Isaac is a good choice. And I think that they're probably looking to bring him to the theater too. If they're pulling him into this thing, then I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up in, whatever, some other, Doctor Strange or, some other, film, or next time they do an Avengers or whatever, he'll probably show up for that sort of stuff. As far as Moon Knight, I have been a Moon Knight fan since back in the 80s. He was not a great character, to be honest. I just thought he was interesting visually. Kind of like the idea that he was a spy sometimes and that sort of thing. They really developed him after 2000. The last, 20 years, they have done several series on him and have made him a much more interesting character than he used to be. So I'm excited. I think this is great. If they had announced someone that I've never heard of before, it wouldn't be as exciting to me. But with Oscar Isaac in the role, it means that they're really going all in on this thing, and that sounds pretty cool.
Well, I mean, it is the one thing they can control is their network. There's, movie
Yep.
theaters aren't open right now, and who knows when they will be. So, I'd rather this be a big time movie, but we'll see how it goes.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they release the Midnight Suns in like the late 90s, early 2000s, which included Moon Knight, Punisher, Daredevil, Ghost Rider?
Yep. I think
There was
that's
a
right.
Midnight Suns book in the mid 90s.
Yeah, Midnight
The big
Suns.
project.
Yeah, it was in the mid '90s, and it was just a limited run, across all the books.
Yeah, it was a big time crossover, almost like Maximum
Hey, Ronnie.
Carnage was.
Yep. It was like one of those yearly crosses.
Me too.
What you're thinking of, Sean, is when kind of Quezada and them took over before he was the editor at Marvel, they did Marvel Knights.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of those type of characters. There was a Marvel Knights. First, it was like, Daredevil was Marvel Knights. That's when Kevin Smith came in, wrote it, and Joe Quezada was doing the art. And then there was they brought Punisher back to life, where he was like this heaven's guardian angel, because at the time he was deceased and he came back. And there was other characters like Elektra and all these people getting kind of revamped under this Marvel Knights. Black Widow is one of them. And then I believe they had a Marvel Knights book that was a team book, and Moon Knight was a part of that, if I remember correctly. And then that propelled Joe Quezada to take over Marvel for probably the next 10 plus years or so.
And destroy the whole relationship between Marvel and DC.
There you go.
Right.
I just remember there was a because they all had a black cover, and it all had the title at the top. You're saying that was Marvel Knights? It all had the title at the top, and then they had their own.
They had a Midnight Suns books where they had a lot of those black covers, if I remember correctly. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I remember reading it, but I don't remember Moon Knight being a part of the Midnight Suns officially.
Yeah, and it looks like Marvel Knights Moon Knight might not have been part of Marvel Knights now that I'm looking at it, because it's like Dazzler, or not Dazzler.
That would be cool.
Boy, it was Daredevil, Punisher, Black Widow, and there's a couple characters I can't remember who they are right now. Looking at Marvel Knights #1.
Yeah, it might have been like Power Man, Iron Fist, and Misty Knight or something, but I'm not for sure on that.
I know Ghost Rider, Morbius, I believe.
No, you're
Morbius,
you're right.
Definitely Midnight Suns.
That was definitely Midnight Suns. They had a thing called, I think, like Dark Stalkers or something like that. And
for some reason I was thinking that Moon Knight was part of that.
That was when they tried to change Doctor Strange into being a Midnight Sun, and he had this mask and he was all creepy again from
Doctor Strange?
Yeah, just briefly.
I don't remember that. That's interesting.
Yep.
Very cool.
There we go. Daredevil, Dagger, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and Punisher were the first initial
Dagger, like Cloak and Dagger?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
That was the Marvel Knights thing. But you might be right, Sean, too. There might have been some miniseries or something there. So I'm not saying you're wrong. For sure.
It's I've slept since then.
There was a David Finch, I believe it was David Finch Moon Knight book that came out in the early 2000s too.
Blade.
That was the best Marvel. That was the best Moon Knight, I believe. That
was the
Finch wrote him. Yeah, Finch wrote him amazingly.
Yeah. So
did we mention Blade? Anyone?
Yeah, you just did.
Mike Kennedy says Doctor Strange wore a mask in the 70s. Man,
yes, he did
that
very briefly, and then he did again for a short time in like 1994 or something ridiculous.
Okay, interesting.
Might have been 93 for that.
I kind of dig that.
So, that's kind of neat, actually.
That's different. I'd like to see that. All right. Does anyone have anything else they want to add to this particular gig?
This is no longer a rumor, right? This is confirmed now.
Well, this came from Variety, and they say that they're in. Well, they originally said they were in negotiations, but according to this article right here, they're saying that no. It says Oscar Isaac is in talks to star in the Marvel series, but it's a very different thing from getting something from Variety and getting something from We Got This Covered. I mean, Variety is about as legitimate, and I suspect that they floated this out there to kind of see what the response was with this. I'd say that it's pretty close to being a done deal.
Okay. I swear
if
I saw
it comes
something
from
that
Variety.
said it was I swear I read something maybe
Yeah, I
in the
think
last
there was a
24
breaking
hours.
news. One
Yeah, I
that
thought there
said-
was a breaking news that this is confirmed, but
Okay.
But by the
Yeah.
way, we did miss the most notorious superhero to be part of the Midnight Suns, and that was Nomad.
oh, Nomad.
Oh,
Everybody's gonna love
Nomad.
Nomad.
Oh,
Jack
we got
Monroe.
we got a few extra. Mike says that Gene Colan did the artwork
He's
Yeah.
right.
on that. Johnny Blaze was part of the Midnight Suns as Johnny Blade.
No, that's wrong. He
Oh, did he
mistyped
say-
that. It was
I'm
Johnny
sorry.
Blaze.
I'm sorry, he corrected it.
That was when Danny
Yeah.
Ketch was the new Ghost Rider, and then Johnny Blaze was just a guy with a shotgun and
Yeah.
the sunglasses and
Yes.
badass looks of the mid '90s.
Cool. All right, we're off to our next thing. If I can find the thing to send us off there.
Oh boy!
Talk amongst yourself. All right. Well, since this is our Halloween episode, Halloween is what, Saturday
Yeah.
or something? We wanted to talk about, just because we thought it would be fun, to talk about what our all-time personal favorite Halloween costume is, and maybe we could talk a little bit about what it was like to wear costumes back in the 70s, 80s, 90s or something.
I'm sure Josh
versus
is a
what
lot
they have
younger
now.
than us. Josh probably hit the 2000s. You're pretty young, aren't you, Josh?
All right.
No, I'm 37.
Oh,
All right.
I thought you were. Okay,
He's
never
not too-
mind.
Oh,
He's not too
thanks.
far
I
off of us.
appreciate it.
Scott brought some stuff. Do you want to go first on this, Scott, and talk a little bit about what you're-
Sure. So you said,
do we want to do this first, or you want to do it last? Because you're the only one who has pictures.
then why don't we just go last with me?
All right, fair enough. I'll go to Sean first, who wins the costume contest tonight.
That is beautiful, man.
Man.
I want to catch you all. You're like a little Pokemon.
I mean,
He's a Sean Monk.
that is so spectacular. I can't even quantify it in words.
I'm a little fat for this costume, but
Now, is
I mean-
this your furry convention costume?
no,
You'd get a lot of play there.
I'm have no doubt.
Actually, you might not get any because you're showing your face.
Oh,
That's
Is that
true.
the way that works?
Uh,
You're not supposed to show the mug?
NCIS actually did an episode on furries.
Of
So
course they did.
That was, and no, you never saw anybody's face in that. So
Wow.
I have a feeling Ronnie's
Which
getting
makes-
educated right now on what a furry is.
Which makes it great for a murder mystery. It's like we didn't see, it could have been anyone in that bunny costume that did the murder, right?
Oh, me and some buddies at work long ago figured out the best thing to do would be go to a furry convention and then like rob everybody. Because what are they going to do and say like, well, it was like a coyote and there was this lizard and there was this dog that robbed us, and they're going like, okay,
Yeah.
buddy, sure,
Yeah.
And they
Sounds
would
like a
never
Batman
find-
comic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sean, you had the floor.
All right, Sean, it's back to you, buddy.
what was the question?
We're just talking about your all-time favorite or unfavorite, whatever. I want you to talk about your old Halloween costumes.
Growing up, I had a mixture of various costumes. Normally, they were store bought when I was real young, but I remember vividly, 3rd grade. I wanted to be Spider-Man. I wanted a Spider-Man costume, and my mother, being a seamstress, she went out. She found like a blue leotard, which at the time I had no idea what a leotard was, and had me put on this skin tight blue fabric, and then she made like a vest that was all, had a little button on the side. You slip the vest on, and that was the chest of the Spider-Man, and then of course the hood. And at the time, I didn't wear sneakers. I didn't wear tennis shoes until, gosh, I think I was in like the 8th grade. Up until that point, I always wore boots. And
Like, wait a minute. Like cowboy boots?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't touch tennis shoes.
Wait a minute. Breaking news.
true.
Sean wore cowboy boots.
In the first grade, you got like a card. You had to tie the shoe. You had to show that you could tie a shoe. I paid a girl a quarter to tie the shoe for me because I had no idea how to do it. I never wore shoes. I had no idea how that whole thing worked.
Wow. That's
like
an interesting.
So you were happy. You were happy when zips came along, right? So you could just unzip it.
Weren't we all?
Yeah, but she made these slips to go over the boots so that I'd look head to toe. I was Spider-Man, and I went around my elementary class just sticking to walls and being just the biggest goofball ever. Loved that costume.
Wow.
Loved that costume. After Halloween, I continued to wear that because
of course,
I enjoyed it so much.
What age was this?
That was third grade, so that would be 8.
Okay, that is cool that your mom did that for you.
Mom made me several costumes. I went as Dracula one year because I got into the Universal monsters for a time, and she had sewn me a cape that I would wear, and then she gave me one of her old blouses, so it was very piratey, very frilly and loose, and I think she had some junk jewelry, for a pendant, and I went as a very 1930s Dracula for a time, and
right.
I remember her pulling out of a hat. I had a G.I. Joe Storm Shadow, and I got invited to a costume party. This was this would have been right around 12, 13 years old. I got invited to a Halloween party. Didn't have a costume. It's last minute, and my mother pulled some fabric out of somewhere, and just by looking at the action figure, she made me a Storm Shadow costume.
Wow.
And she's amazing as far as doing any type of sewing or any type of seamstress. She's absolutely fantastic. She doesn't give herself any credit. She's really pretty cool about all of that stuff. And so I've had several that I've thoroughly enjoyed, but the one that was most memorable to me was probably that Spider-Man.
Mike Kennedy says that you might be okay at the furry convention because you have a beard.
It's true. It's very, very true.
And Michelle wants to know if your costume has a tail. Inquiring minds want to know.
This is
yes, I have a tail.
Wow. There you go.
Man.
Wow. These are the good times. Okay, I'm going to go next on my deal. My mom dressed me up as Casper, the friendly ghost. That was my first costume. When I started, doing my own stuff, what drove me nuts about costumes is that back in the olden days, they had plastic masks for the characters that you wanted to play, and then they had a bib. The only thing I can describe it as is a bib with a picture of the face of the character that you're playing. So if you're Darth Vader,
like the mask is not enough,
right? You have the mask, which is bad. It's a bad mask. It's very thin plastic, and it has a rubber band, which probably will snap and not make it through the night. And then you have like a picture on your bib of Darth Vader's face. Well, I've seen Star Wars many times, and I can't remember any episode of Star Wars where Darth Vader had a picture of his own damn face on the front of his chest. That's ignorant. I have no idea who designed those damn things, but I have to think it was a bunch of old women who thought, well, if it's a Darth Vader costume, it should probably have a picture of Darth Vader on it. Won't that be lovely? So that's what we had.
Somebody's bitter.
I hated the costumes that we had back in the 70s and 80s. They were really, really, really abysmal. Compared to now, if you want to be Spider-Man, for example, you get the full costume head to toe. You get fake muscles. It looks exactly like Spider-Man in the movies. And if I had something like that, I would never take it off. It would have been awesome. So anyway, instead of doing their lousy bib costumes, I made a Cylon helmet out of a milk carton, out of like a plastic milk carton, and put tinfoil on it. That's the way I dealt with that. Also, my mom made me a cool wizard's outfit. She was not much of a seamstress or whatever, but she did make me a cool kind of Gandalf looking robe, which was awesome, and I quickly grew out of. But my all-time favorite was I had a full Planet of the Apes mask of Cornelius, and I had like a U.S. Army outfit that looked a lot like the outfit that he had in, Escape from the Planet of the Apes or something. I had a pretty good costume, I think. And unfortunately, that was the year that I got sick on Halloween. I never got to wear that thing because I was running a fever. So my best costume, I never really got to wear.
Bro, you got to power through that.
Dude, it was
Halloween, dude.
I know. I wanted to go bad, but I was running a fever. It just didn't happen. So now we're off to Josh.
Yeah. So, growing up, I remember vividly that we had a big old brown box that had a whole bunch of mishmash of different costumes that, one year my mom would have bought stuff. And I remember being Robin Hood one year in particular. I remember being a werewolf.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Robin is cool.
They were all really great, costumes. None that really ever stuck out that was like my favorite. If I want to talk about my favorite, it's going to have to be later in life when I had my son. The two main costumes that stick out for me were the first year he was born, and he was born in August, so he was like 2 months old. We dressed him up as a little spider, and I put spider webbing all over me, and I was carrying him around going trick or treating. So I was like something that was caught in his spider web. And then the following year, or it might have been 2 years after, he wanted to be Darth Vader. Well, he was Darth Vader, and I walked around with a big black cloak as Darth Sidious, and I would, walk up to the door and be like, "Come, Lord Vader." And so
that's great.
Yeah, those were definitely my favorite of all time. But I didn't get to have the bib and the plastic mask. By the time I was trick or treating, they had already kind of moved on to. Actually, I think by the time I was trick or treating, it was more pink. The mask stuff had been moved away from for a while. Like there was that period in time where there was like not a whole lot of the masks.
Everyone painted their faces. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Because I remember specifically, I was a skeleton one year, and my mom had got this like paint for my face that was like supposed to be like glow in the dark. And this one lady, an old lady, had given us apples while we were trick-or-treating, and I was like, "Mom, I want to eat my apple." And she was like, "Okay." She looked over and she gave it back to me, and I'm sitting there eating it, and then I looked down and my apple's glowing because it's got all my makeup all over it.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, that would be the ones with my son, I would have to say, are my two favorites.
I think that's cool. I think Scott did something like that. Let me get through some of these comments here. Jerry says that's her flying squirrel costumes, and yes, it does have a tail. Walt and Ashell were laughing at me, I guess. It's the red light, folks. Mike says that that they were really cheesy, the old things. Walt says I need the spicy crown. Ronnie says that very spicy crown. Betty says hi. Betty.
Hello, Betty.
Your son just talked about you a lot, and he said good things, so you probably should have been here earlier.
She can watch the replay.
That's right. Jerry says she did an awesome Puss in Boots one year. And Mike says he's been Batman, a biker, a pirate, and almost Grendel.
That sounds like a
Sean?
spinoff of Grindel.
Man.
Like after the Grindel series, almost Grindel. Da-da-da-da-da.
When
It sounds like a Steve Miller song.
Mike dressed up as the Mask for the movie premiere.
Yeah, that was
of
amazing.
Mask.
Oh,
And
yes.
He actually had an effects guy do a full cast of his head. And
It
do a
was good,
full-
man.
He looked magnificent.
That is
I
a
know
good
it-
call.
I know it wasn't for Halloween, but that was probably the best costume I've ever seen by far. That was absolutely beautiful.
Oh, wow. That is a really good call. I had forgotten all about that. That was super awesome. Someone named Betty wants to know what you have on your head, Sean.
I'll tell you later.
Michelle wants to know. Michelle remembers him as the Mask because that was quite a.
I wish
That
I
was-
had a photo of that to show, because that was magnificent. That was by far, because he had molded teeth, if I remember right. The mask itself was fantastic, beautifully done. And then of course he had the bright banana yellow jumpsuit.
Yep.
Suit
Right.
for the just perfect, absolutely perfect.
Mike says that he forgot about it. It was so much fun and great to do, and he has a pic of that somewhere.
Oh, dude,
Sean-
you need to share that.
Sean, I'm disappointed in you. I see when you move, I see the gap in your costume. You have a shirt under that. Why?
Because I'm
Dude,
fat.
what the? I mean, what kind of show do you think this is, Scott?
Okay. All right. Just saying, man. You got to be hot.
Walt said he
I'm
recently
not
did
cold.
Spider-Man. Betty says Sean went 1 year as Freddy Krueger. That's it. Oh, I think I've heard that story actually.
Mhm.
I think Sean maybe had the most evolved costumes of all of us. Mike says that his mask was a great latex sculpt.
It was
Not
gorgeous.
for beginners. Scott, you're up.
All right. First, before we go into what I dressed up as,
Yep.
I knew by saving these some point I could show these off somewhere. These are masks. Several years ago, my grandfather passed away. We cleaned out his stuff, and we found these old Halloween masks that I decided to keep because they were from my mom's childhood, and my mom's probably of the same age as Sean's mom, and so these are probably from the 60s, if not maybe a little before. These are definitely kid masks, but
Hey, that's in great shape.
and they
that's pretty
still
cool.
have the elastic on them. as
That's
you can
incredible.
see. So for Halloween, you could be a kitty cat.
Yep. Good. That's nice.
You could be a monkey.
All right. Actually, also in great shape. Where did she keep these?
These were Grandpa's. He kept them out in a storage place.
That's more like.
There's a skull.
Yeah.
or
I
a
had
ghoul.
that. I
You had
that
this? Okay, so this
Oh
might
my
be
God.
from. This could easily be from like the early 70s. My mom
Like the
graduated in the 70s.
antediluvian era.
one. Does it have a bunch of glitter on it?
No, it does not. I mean, it might have at one point. Here's like a devil.
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
Okay. And let's see. We have a gypsy.
I remember that gypsy.
Okay. So these might have been
That's-
sold for several years.
That's clearly
then-
cultural appropriation.
Well, it gets worse.
Of
Ready
course it
for
does.
the
Oh,
Eskimo.
that's.
Oh,
Yep.
Oh,
Can't do
dude.
that anymore.
I know. We have to erase the Eskimo. So, anyways,
Yes, that is
enjoy your Eskimo mask.
That is not appropriate.
It still
That
has
is-
the price sticker on inside, but
Oh,
like
how
where-
much was it?
where the dollar amount would be is gotten scraped off. So it was
Oh.
either 29 cents, $1.29, or
Right.
maybe $2.29. It's can't be more than that, right? For the time period.
That is great show and tell, Scott.
Anyways, those are masks that my mom and her
I love
brother
that.
and sister might have used, and
Yeah,
I
I
thought
love
that'd be
that.
appropriate for this time.
That is super wonderful.
Before I go on to costumes I dressed up as, some of my favorite costumes for my kids, and I don't have pictures of this, is one year
Yeah.
my oldest daughter, Wakelin, went as Yoda, and she got so much attention because she just learned to walk. So you had this little tiny Yoda just scrambling around everywhere wanting candy and stuff. And
Didn't you go as Luke Skywalker or something?
that was always the joke, is when she was going to be a baby,
Oh.
is to dress her up as Yoda and go as fat Luke Skywalker and put her in a backpack. that didn't happen. I didn't dress
All
up as
right.
Luke.
All right.
Yeah, when you have kids, you can't afford to dress up as Luke. So you
Michelle
just get...
says those are great masks.
Thank you. And then my youngest daughter, Eden, one year, we didn't know what to dress her up as a baby. So we bought her a Batman shirt. We drew a goatee on her and bought some little glasses. So she went as Little Scott for Halloween. And she was really cute, too. So I just had to mention those. Those are my favorite costumes for my children. And now we'll get to this awfulness of... These are the 3 or 4 pictures I found of Halloween's past. What are you going to start with, Dirk?
I'm going to start with
Go from youngest. 1 year I was a stupid clown because, I have red hair. So why not have my parents initially
this is gold.
Start the teasing?
You know I love clowns.
Well, I know, but
our buddy Pump is rolling over right now in laughter.
Oh, he will love this. I guess
he will have this on repeat.
Who wants to be a clown? Besides the fact I already have a red hair. I have red hair. Everybody already teases you for having red hair. When you're little, all the old women go, "I just love your precious red hair," and you're like, "Why?" So somebody can tease you about it being a noodle on a poodle? Because I hate that.
You may not know it, but there was a time when all the women said they love my curls.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. But they wouldn't date you for them, right?
Hell no.
Right. So in that picture, I was probably 2 or 3 at most at that. So that's the youngest picture I can find of myself. Now, at the time for this next one, this is what you were talking about, Hooper. Yeah. You had the cool
mask.
There
it is.
And just in case nobody knew who you were, we're going to have a terrible picture of Boba Fett right here.
Right. Well, sometimes it was just the face, though, with an explosion.
Yeah, well, that's an explosion
that's
with
at least
a
body.
Yeah, but look how terrible that is. It looks like
it's also a bib, and in case you still didn't know it was Boba Fett, it has a belt that says Boba Fett.
Exactly. Now, I must say
that is crappy.
I remember getting this costume, and I thought I was badass, dude. I went to a church Halloween party because they did Halloween parties back then, not harvest parties or harvest festivals. And I remember I didn't say a word at the church party because I was Boba Fett. He didn't talk. He just looked badass. So I just stood there and stared at people, and they go, "Oh, you're so cute," and I just stare at them and glare. I didn't say a word that whole party. It was awesome. I thought
Halloween
it was
is great.
So
Halloween is great. We're getting some comments. We gotta.
Okay, let's get some comments.
Betty says Sean Wynn is the crow to the show. To the actual he wanted. Wait a minute, we got to let's get Sean.
The Crow. During the premiere of The Crow, I was hanging out at a comic book store called Alliance Comics, and
Trader.
That's because of things
I didn't know of. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Could have gone to Planet.
And I had made a deal with the store owners that if they could get a large enough group, I would shave off my beard, paint up as the crow, and go to the movie premiere.
Right.
And they tripled the amount of people that I had asked. And so I said, "Well, I guess I'm shaving my face." And
wow.
I did the whole thing up. We scared the crap out of a bunch of people who thought that I was just some really cool stand-up. And that was fun. That was a fun day. I like the costumes.
She said you scared the kids too.
Oh yeah, that's the best thing about being Freddy.
As Freddy.
I had a latex mask, Hollywood style mask that I put on that year. And I enjoyed that year.
I'm going back to you, Scott. I promise. Michelle says red curly hair is beautiful
on women.
Exactly. It's not appreciated on men. That's
Carrot Top's not beating off the girls. That's for sure. Nobody likes Carrot Top.
Mike says that you could say you were being a young John Wayne Gacy.
Maybe my parents were onto something I didn't know about.
Wow. All right. Back to you, Scott.
I don't remember what the next picture is here, so you're gonna have to put it up.
All right. Do you have anything else to say about Boba Fett?
No,
this is later in life.
Okay, so this is college, and we got roped into going to. It was like an AIDS benefit
It was a fundraiser,
Halloween party. And I was in college at the, downtown.
Like at a very fancy. This was a fancy party.
So the quick story here is we were getting back into pro wrestling, and there was this chump that came out named Fit Finley, and I never heard of him before because I was out of watching pro wrestling for a while. And I told Hooper as soon as this guy comes out, I said, if he wins this match, he's going to be my favorite wrestler.
He did say that.
It was for at the time, the WCW TV title, and he beat Booker T. And I was like, well, I guess he's my new wrestler. So I went as Fit Finley, but instead I called myself Fat Finley. And that was my costume. That was pretty close to his costume, which was just a shamrock. He was just a normal dude with blonde hair.
And you dyed your hair blonde, which is pretty amazing. Yeah,
for about 9 months or maybe a little bit more, I had blonde hair because I bleached it blonde. I was the nature boy, Scott Prime. So good college times.
Yeah.
And then I think we have one more picture.
Are you ready for that?
This. Yeah, let's do it. So this was everybody who went to this party. If you see the guy in the gimp mask, that is Mr. Dirk Hooper. So there you go.
It's not really a Halloween costume, folks.
No, this was like live.
Just Saturday night.
You can't tell it, but I'm pretty sure that there's arousal though. And the crow back there is Robert Henry, who was on last week's episode. So there you go.
The women who were with us there were foreign exchange students from England.
Right. And our friend Stephanie and James and a few other people. So it was a good time. We went to this event.
Stephanie discovered some stuff while she was out in Washington, D.C. and brought some toys and stuff back. So we decided to go as a couple there.
Yeah.
To this party, which is pretty funny.
Which, I thought it was ridiculous at the time to go to a Halloween party as adults, but I got out of it as cheap as possible. So little did I know I'd be fatter Finley later in life. So there you go.
Yeah, it's good to get those pictures when you're younger.
For sure.
And it looks much better. Ashell is saying what to something.
Well, she's probably saying, I don't know.
Mike says looks like fun.
We had a good time. So
all right. Halloween costumes. Anyone else have something to say on that subject?
No, I really don't. I think it's an excuse for adults to live out their fantasies of role playing that they're too scared to just tell people they like to do normal times. So
I went to the Halloween store today, and it was surprised, despite the fact that we were getting ice storms and it was the middle of the day, it was surprisingly busy there. And I was astounded at, some of the outfits that they had there are pretty good quality. I mean, it would have been amazing to have that selection and quality.
Oh, as a kid?
Back when I was a kid, I would have loved that. And everything that's a big deal now has a costume. They had a nerd costume. I'm trying to think about who would. I mean, if you are a nerd, you definitely don't want to dress like a nerd. So who is it that purposely wants to dress like a nerd?
Hot chicks.
Yeah.
It's a hot nerd. That's the point there?
By the time they're done with it.
All right. I'll buy that.
Sean's being nice. He wants to say hot slutty chicks because they use this Halloween as an excuse. You saw the costumes there. You know what it's like. Let's move on.
That's a whole other subject, folks.
For sure.
All right. Let's get on to the next deal, which is our feature of Hey, we're covering Josh today, who is our guest. Josh is a husband and father of 3. He's been gaming his whole life, from video games, sports, and board games. He is a self-proclaimed nerd of just about everything. He has dabbled in game design for a while, and Crimson Woods is the first one he's brought to Kickstarter. That Kickstarter launched today, Josh. You can see the Kickstarter right there on the screen. And you've already got 6,398. Is that correct?
5,398.
Yeah, 5,000.
Okay. 5,000. I mean, that just launched today, folks. And you're doing all right.
Thank you.
Let's put that up for just a minute. And Josh, tell us a little bit about Crimson Woods, please.
All right. Yeah. Well, so Crimson Woods is what I call a semi-cooperative horror survival board game. You guys all are going to play as a bunch of camp counselors that are trying to survive a murderer that has gotten loose in the campsite.
This is perfect for Halloween.
Oh yes, perfect.
We had the right guy on tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very reminiscent of certain 1980s horror slasher flick. And the game itself has a ton of replayability because it's not just a regular board. You're actually playing on 36 tiles where you're going to actually shuffle up the different tiles every game except for 4 that take place that are the base main camp. Then, like in that picture right there that you guys are showing right now, you got like resources cards that up top that you need to use to help fend off the killer or help your movement. Or like that one in the middle is the gas, and you actually need that plus the keys to try to escape off of one of the tiles. You'll be able to escape either from the car, the boat, or the watchtower. You can call the cops to try to come and rescue you. And if you are able to successfully escape, you win the game. And there's opportunity, like I said, semi-cooperative, because you could actually end up leaving one of your good friends behind if you are already on the car and you have the gas and keys and you want to leave. You can leave. And the other guys have to stay behind and fend for themselves.
Right. I'll kind of throw it to Scott because I know that he's maybe play tested this, or you know some people who have. Scott, you're on mute, buddy.
Oh boy. Yeah, I was going to say, leave it right here on the what's in the box. Let Josh explain this real quick.
Okay,
and then
good.
I'm going to tell you what I've went through and my thoughts on it when I play tested it.
Good. We'll bring it up and do that.
This right here is everything that you're going. Well, this is just about everything. There is a couple things that you're going to get that aren't in this picture, but it's a camp. You are all the camp counselors, so I really wanted to make the design for the game, the theme just be over encompassing. And so the rule book looks like your camp counselor handbook, which is the white thing up in the left hand corner.
That's cool.
You then to the right with all the yellow player IDs, those are the actual player cards. Each character, each counselor, they have different attributes and special abilities. Then you're going to get your resource deck, which is the cards that have the backpack-looking backside. Those can have anything from axes and gas and energy drinks to help you along the way. And also there are some killer attack cards, so he will just pop up at random sometimes and attack you while you're drawing cards. The rest of the black and white grayscale stuff, those are the actual tiles. So that's what the board is initially made out of. Then you got your 6 little meeples for each of your 6 different counselors. Your dice for your 2 blue dice are the actual attack dice for the counselors. The red dice are the attack dice for the killer. The red blood droplets are health trackers. And then the white and black dice are pretty cool because that's what the AI uses to move the killer around the 6x6 grid. So the white die would represent the column, the black would represent the row, and that's where the killer would pop up on different tiles. And then there's another little custom die there that helps the killer move around to try to track down some of the counselors. Underneath the red meeple are search tokens. That's how you're going to end up finding your keys to get to where you get away from the killer. There's also some like first aid, some draw cards, and also those little crossed daggers are stalker tokens. If you get too many stalker tokens, he comes after you. And then the infamous red meeple, who, like I've said before, I hope to make the red meeple a terror in any board game that you ever play again, because that is the killer of Camp Crimson Woods.
All right. That's a good breakdown.
So this game is only $35. Right, Josh?
Yep, $35.
What's cool about that, if you're out there and you're maybe on the fence about this and you like board games, this is an opportunity to, if you ask me, Josh is a little guy. If this doesn't fund, Josh doesn't live out his dream. He's not Cool Mini or not. He's not, all these other big companies that use Kickstarter more as a pre-order system. This is how Josh is going to get this game published. So if you're out there and you're just even thinking about it, really, if you believe in Kickstarter and the idea that like, hey, I love your idea, I want to come support you, Josh needs you more than the big guys do right now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut it.
Go ahead.
I am the epitome of what Kickstarter was created for. Back in the day, that's what Kickstarter was. Back in the day, Kickstarter was, I have an idea, let me put it on Kickstarter. Hopefully I can find a bunch of people with the like-mindedness of myself that appreciate my idea, like my idea, and are able to help me fund it. And that's why I went with Kickstarter. I still feel that the board game community is out there. Plus, I have a huge following with other communities that I'm involved in. So, but yeah, that's what Kickstarter used to be, and I'm hopefully going to be able to pull in what Kickstarter was. Yeah,
was what it was meant for, right?
Yeah.
So with the game, I guess I can kind of go over this, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, in any way. You can, if you just wanted to support this game, you can go in there. He has a pledge where you can just, I'll pledge $1 or whatever. He also has a pledge where like maybe you feel strongly about this game, but maybe you can't afford it right now. But if for $10, you could put your name in it, in the credits of like, hey, I supported this game. So once the game's published, your name's in there, or maybe your whole family's in there. Maybe, I could pledge some extra money and I could put, Scott Prime, Wakeland Prime, Eden Prime, Jennifer Prime in there and have my whole family inside this board game as like credits, so that's kind of neat too, because people don't think about these unique things on Kickstarter that they might not be able to get in the store. Kickstarter allows some custom ability on these things where you could, if I had a relative or something that was into like horror movies and board games, I could put their name in this and buy this for them as a neat, unique gift. And you can even do that for $35 because the next pledge is $35 for all those components, that board game that you see there. And then I believe you have, if you're a retailer out there, you have a retailer pledge where you get like, correct me if I'm wrong, 8 copies for like $200 for like a retailer if you own a store.
Yep, yeah, it's the retailer pledge is 8 copies. I think I'm going to be adding another. I had a couple of retailers reach out to me and ask me, is there any way that we can do like a fewer copies than 8? So I think that's going to be another pledge level that I end up adding just so that they could take a look at it, and if they want to back it, you get it for the retailers. Obviously, we'll talk after the campaign's over, and I need to get some proof that you are an actual retailer. But yeah, if you have a brick and mortar store, I'm trying to get it in your store as well because I want you to. I hope you guys, the retailers, will support it and initially draw in more sales. So,
Ashell says, "I love the design of this game. It looks incredibly fun."
Oh, thank you so much.
There you go. And Sean Murphy says, how about $35 for Wilson's hat? Put that in the game. Scary as hell.
Well, there's also more pledges though, right, Josh? Why don't you explain? I think they're still open.
Well, we have so there is the Create a Counselor tier, which is pretty much you're going to be able to put your likeness or someone else's likeness that you wish to have in the game as one of the camp counselors that people will be able to play as. You'll also be working with me to give the flavor of the counselor, and we'll also be working together a bit to work on like the attributes and the special abilities of the counselors. There was a Create a Killer tier, which was you're going to help create a killer, because as long as we fund on Halloween, we're going to be releasing Edgar, who is our first killer for the game. And it makes the game go from a 2 to 6 to a 1 to 7. So there is a solo mode added as well. But all of the Create a Killer levels sold rather quickly. So now I'm talking with my artist to see if we're going to unlock some more levels.
Okay.
Or some more spots.
How much would one cost to become a counselor in the game?
The create a counselor is
Yes, sir.
$150.
Man, that's not much at all to have some unique gift out there for somebody or even yourself. I mean, I got to admit, I've already pushed back on the game itself, but I'm really heavily considered. Do I need myself in this game? Do I need one of my children in this game, or do I need Jennifer in this game? Really bad. Although it'd be really fun to put Dirk in this game and have him get killed over and over and over and over again.
Nice.
Because then I could go, his attributes are this and that, and then when we play the game with him, we always have to make him play that character, and it will suck. It'll be awesome.
Nice. Thanks, Scott.
Well, I might do that to Robert too. It's really tempting. Sean, that's what I'm saying.
This is the love that we have between friends.
Exactly.
Josh, tell me a little bit about what the process is to create a game. I mean, most people probably never create a game in their life. Tell us what that was like for you.
So, I mean, I jumped right in, not knowing how to do anything really. So pretty much from word go, I got this idea in the middle of the night one night, thinking that the mechanics that I was thinking about would make a perfect game. Started scribbling it down on a piece of paper. Just kept on messing around with the piece of paper, trying to get it worked out perfectly. Finally took it to some friends. They thought it was great. They were like, look, we want to get in from the ground floor. Whenever you're ready to, start moving forward with this thing, let us know. And then, it was pretty much just like I ordered a bunch of like blank gaming components, like blank, magic size cards and some blank, I think it's like 2x2 tile cards, and just made my game with a piece of pen or the piece of paper and pen. And took it to PAX Unplugged 2 years ago. Showed it off to some people. Everybody liked it. Showed it off to two really good board game friends of mine. They told me, they were like, look, man, when someone sits there and tells you, hey, I wrote a comic book, or hey, I designed a board game, and all you think of, man, this thing's going to suck. And they were like, I just want to tell you right now, I think this thing is awesome, and you really have something. And so then I pushed forward, got my artist. Just hit up somebody. There's a group. It's like art of, I think it's like art and design of board games or something like that. Some type of group like that. Put out there saying, hey, I'm looking for an artist just to get some prices. Met my artist, James Hayball. Me and him hit it off real well. He liked the theme. He liked the genre. So then we started working on it. Took it back to my other friends who were like, hey, let's go. I want to get in from the ground level. Talk to them about it. They cut me a check like instantly. And from then it just started working on getting all the art together and just tuning the design. So, I mean, it's been 4 years now working to get it where it needs to be perfected. And then the art, getting all the art together. And now it's just in the process of, my prototypes are already out there. That's what a lot of the pictures you're seeing of like the components and whatnot. So that was working with Gameland Games out of China. They do Too Many Bones. I don't know if anybody's ever played that, but Gameland Games does a lot of great games. And when I started talking to them, it just seemed like they were going to be a real good fit. And they've been perfect with just answering every question I ever throw at them because it's all new to me. But yeah, it's a process. It's a nerve-wracking process, but it is a fun process just to realize you're creating something.
Go ahead, Scott.
Oh, okay.
That's something.
Josh, real quick, explain to, I don't know I know we can't really do this through visuals, but I guess the best way I was going to say you could walk us through on how to set up the game, but I guess I really don't need to do that. Dirk, if you will go back to the Kickstarter page and then scroll down, I'm going to show some people so first off, if you go to Kickstarter, if you're unfamiliar with Kickstarter, go to kickstarter.com, search for Crimson Woods, and keep scrolling down, Dirk, just so you're going to see some videos on.
Keep going. Sean that's scrolling.
Oh, Sean, I'm sorry. Sean,
That's
go
all
down
right.
there. Right there, you can see a tabletop simulator playthrough that you could click on. There's a couple of videos in case you're like, I don't know, I'm used to only playing Monopoly or Connect 4. Could I handle this game? This game is not, I wouldn't say it's overly complicated at all. Like, we play tested it once with Josh with a group of friends. We got the gist of the game about a couple of turns through. It was, if you like hidden movement, you want the feel of, maybe a 1980s kind of horror movie. This is a great game for that because the killer can strike at any time you're rushing around. I remember we were panicking. The way the game sets up, it kind of has this almost memory feel to it too, because all the tiles don't stay up once you walk on them. They're kind of hidden. So you kind of got to remember stuff. And I remember a few times in our playthrough, we were like, I think this is over here. When it's like, are you sure? Well, not 100% sure. To kind of represent, like you get lost on the campgrounds and stuff. So we've had a very interesting game, and through some good dice rolling and some luck, I believe all of us survived except for maybe one or two people. I know I survived.
I died.
You died? Were you the one who died in our group? But we lucked out on that, and it was pretty dang hard, and we were sweating bullets for a while. And I like that in a co-op game. I don't want a co-op game where I play and it's really easy. I actually prefer the co-op games to kind of win about 60% of the time. If we played this 10 times, we're happy we won 4 times because it felt like a challenge instead of the opposite where we almost win every time. Because most co-op games that you win every time, you get tired of playing. So as a board gamer who has over 100 board games myself, I have many co-op games. I like a challenging co-op game. And I think Dirk and Sean can attest to this. When we played, what was the game we played that I can't even think?
My something war,
This War of Mine. That is a super challenging co-op game.
Yep.
And I enjoy it for that fact. I'm glad I've only won one time.
I really liked that game a lot, actually.
But if you would have won right off the bat,
it is depressing, though.
Yeah. So, but this really feels like a Friday the 13th movie or something like that. And that's what's fun about it. And I think you'll really like it. I think $35 is a really good value. I think maybe Josh went a little too low, but that's okay. That's good for us, right? So back this game and support people like Josh.
This guy knows a little bit about Friday the 13th.
It's true. It's very, very true.
Look, you're off to a good start here, Josh, with this Kickstarter. What do you have planned next? I mean, besides continuing and getting this thing funded, do you have another project coming up, or maybe some supplements or anything else that people need to know about?
Yeah, so everybody's asked me that today, like all day. Is this a one and done type of deal? And no, it's not. I created Red Clover Games, which is what my publishing house is, I guess you want to call it that. But yeah, that's the game plan, is to keep rolling with that. I have quite a few different games in the wheelhouse that I want to bring out. I know, I think I mentioned earlier, at least while we were talking, that I have a sci-fi version. I think it might have been someone else I was talking to. I'm sorry. Too many people have been talking to me today.
It's all right, man.
It's
launch day.
Yeah. I plan on doing a sci-fi version as well. So pretty much the whole system that I've created here with the mechanics, I'm calling it the Crimson system. And so it's going to be implemented in different types of games that I have planned as well. I have a fantasy version that I'm working on where, they don't all play the same. I'm not trying to sit there and, be Munchkin and, throw out
the same game over and over.
Yeah, no, that's not the game plan. They're all going to have something different to them. And then also there's other games I have going that I think the next game that I'm going to bring to Kickstarter once I'm allowed to, after I fund this and fulfill it, is actually like a fun little card party game that I've been messing around with lately. And that's a lot easier sell because card games are really easy to fund. So, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming from Red Clover Games. Just keep an eye out on us, please.
So if you are a person who has get-togethers and maybe you're not big board game people, this would have been perfect for. We had a get together not too long ago with some old friends where there was like 8 of us sitting around talking and stuff. This would have been a perfect game for that because everybody could have been involved. Everybody would have laughed. Everybody would have giggled. Everybody would have freaked out. This is one of those good. I don't want to say. I say the term party game because they call party games where you have a big party of people, but at the same time you could have a lot of fun and. It's just really enjoyable experience. So
everybody's been saying that it's a very, when it comes to weight size, when everybody talks about board games, it's a very lightweight game. Like Scott said, the learning curve is just within like 2 or 3 turns, and then once you've learned how to play the game, it's real simple. Like what he's talking about as far as like the whole get-togethers, I think a lot of people are going to be very pleasantly surprised, especially those who have played with me on Tabletop Simulator and have enjoyed it. Once you play this in real life, it is a whole new experience because you're like in Tabletop Simulator, you can only feed off of each other's anxiety and pressure and stress so much. In real life, man, it is intense. You're like, man, do I really want to draw that card? And people are like, yeah, draw the card, and it's a lot of fun. It's a blast live. Sure. And I think everybody's going to love it in that vein or in that sense.
Well, when you have big get-togethers, sometimes you have we have 4 people here that know how to play board games, and then we have 4 people who might not want to do this at all. I think this is a game that even the people who might not want to do it at all would watch one game and then they go, "Oh, what the hell?
Play now." Yeah,
I'll take next game. I really think you have that vibe going here, especially if you're a group of people like our group of people, which are a bunch of nerdy people who, enjoy horror movies, enjoy this and that, other nerdy things. So,
and then so real quick to talk about the rest of Crimson, like the future of Crimson Woods. So like with the whole create a counselor, those counselors are going to be included in the Kickstarter edition of the game. So whenever you back it for that $35, you're going to also get any stretch goals that we unlock. Hopefully we are able to unlock all the stretch goals for everybody. But you're going to get all those stretch goals, and you're going to also get all the camp counselors that everybody decided to back as well. So you're going to get a ton of counselors to play with. Then on top of that, with the kill account, create a killer here. That one, those killers aren't going to be initially released with the Kickstarter edition. Because that's going to take a lot of time, art-wise and design-wise, for me to make sure that I have the right balance. Scott knows a lot about this with SRG Universe, with how Steve does his Create a Competitor, and I've told Steve Resk himself, because of him is where I got this idea. And so down the road, there is going to be mini expansions, and there's going to be other things that get released of other killers, other resource cards, potentially other tiles, and I've already got stuff written up in my notebook for the sequel, which will be Return to Camp Crimson Woods.
I love this. I wish I would have got a hold of our buddy Robert Henry, who does a horror comic called Bad Candy. I wish I got a hold of him in time to get him to get that killer, because I would love for his character Bad Candy to be the killer. Yeah. I think that would be awesome. So,
like I said, I want to talk. My artist is in England, so by the time I realized it was sold out, and a lot of stuff was people were asking, "Hey, I want to get a killer. He was already off the grid, asleep or whatever, doing whatever. And tomorrow I'm going to hit him up and talk to him about actually opening up a couple more tiers or a couple more spots for the killer. So
now, people who get if I backed the Creative Counselor, I would also get the board game. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. And you're saying if you have crazy number 35 people do the extra counselor thing, you're saying my board game will come with, even if I backed it at $35, my game's going to come with 35 additional counselors?
Yes.
Wow, that's awesome. That's pretty cool. Yeah. How many counselors so far have you got committed to you?
We got 8 so far.
And the game comes with how many to begin with?
Comes with 6.
So you're already going to get 14. As long as it's funds, you're getting 14 counselors. That's pretty awesome for replayability. You could have one of those get-togethers, like I said. Everybody can sit down, and we're going to say, this is our first movie. And then whoever survives goes on to the next movie. And then you can plug in new characters as you go. I mean, I like to do stuff like that with thematic board games. So
yeah, and the thing is they're going to be double-sided. So I mean, that's going to save down on me for production value and whatnot. So that's you're still gonna, and only 6 people can play at a time, really, because I think if you guys tried to do more than 6, it's definitely going to get crowded. And,
right.
if you watch some of the playthrough, so with the resource deck, once the resource deck runs out, you don't get to just shuffle all of the discard back in. That's the one thing I wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure that there was an end time to this game, not just escaping or dying. So if that resource deck runs out, you have one final showdown, one final round, all the way. All the counselors get one final turn, and then the game's over if you're not able to escape. So, if you had 20 people playing at once, you guys are going to run through that deck super fast, and you might not be able to run around the camp and find everything you need.
I believe that's where the tension came from our game, that we were doing fairly okay, but that deck was running low, and we were worried about running out of time. So,
yep,
good stuff. Y'all have any questions?
Yeah. Does anyone have anything? We don't have any comments.
Okay.
Anyone? All right. Well, we're moving on to our next thing then, which is all right, it's on Blast. We're going to talk a little bit about things that we consumed over the last week or so, whether we read a comic or watched a movie or a television show or played a game. Whatever it is that we want to talk about, something that you want to promote here on the show. And first, I'm going to go to Sean.
Just the other day, I saw a movie that I thought, I need to start, really getting into my Shudder account here and seeing what all I can really watch. So,
do you want me to pop this up here?
Sure. And what I ended up watching was a movie called The Headhunter. It is a extremely low budget film. It was made for approximately $30,000. And
Wow.
I believe a majority of that was just in the costuming and visual effects. There's not a whole lot of action. There's not a whole lot of really dialogue. It's basically this one character who goes about hunting down monsters and taking their head and mounting them to his wall. And the reason he hunts all these creatures is he's striving to find the creature that killed his daughter. And it was a very tense, at times, movie. I think it laid a great story out. It's also very short. It was only I want to say it was only like 75 minutes, something like that. It wasn't a real long movie. Again, not a whole lot of action, not a whole lot of dialogue, but what was there was genuinely well done. It was a great movie, and one I think anybody would be remiss to not add to their Halloween viewing.
Mike says not bad for the budget. He watched it the other night.
It was really interesting. I didn't realize that it was such a low budget watching the movie. It wasn't until I tried to look up a few more details about it that it was like, oh wow, they got so much out of such a low budget of a film. They did a great job. They did a great job with that.
Very cool. All right, Josh, you're up next.
You guys are gonna laugh at me, I guess, for whatever I've consumed lately. It's going. I mean, I've been constantly busy getting the Kickstarter prep, getting it ready. So, what I would have to say is, what is it we've been watching? Your show, Down Under, or
Below Deck.
Below Deck, the reality show Below Deck. I'm sorry. That's the best I have to come at you with, because it's been constantly getting the Kickstarter ready, and so she'll be sitting there watching Below Deck, which is like about a bunch of yachties that run a big, 100-some foot yacht, super yacht, which they say like it costs your house, like the whole price of your house just to rent this thing for like 4 days. So, I mean, nothing too exciting. I'm sorry. I wish I could give you guys something better, but that's
all right,
what I've been watching.
I'm going to
In the
go to
World
myself.
Series. I'm sorry. In the World, I watched some of the World Series.
Oh, so you were the guy that was watching the World Series.
Right? Yeah.
Is that over? Did the Dodgers
yet.
win? Okay,
Not
there's
yet.
one more game, right?
Well, potentially 2, hopefully, if the
Okay.
Rays win.
Yeah, I didn't miss that last time. We're in an ice storm here, in case
Yeah.
anybody in the world doesn't know, for like the last 36 hours or so.
Yeah,
And
last
surprisingly,
couple of
we all
days.
still have power here.
It's
Oh, wow.
unbelievable.
But you can go outside and just hear trees crashing
'Cause,
all around. So
yeah, power's been going on and off all day long, and it sounds like someone like a shotgun blast,
I just didn't
outside
know
with
if-
these trees crack.
I bring that up because I didn't know if Game 6 was last night. That's why I was asking. Sorry.
No, they should be going. I don't know where they're playing. I know they were playing in neutral sites at first. So I know they're traveling today.
Gotcha.
Walt says that he watched Hellstrom. I want to see that on Hulu. That looks pretty good. I'm going to go to myself because I don't have much to say. I'm watching The Boys season 2, and if you watch season 1, it's more of the same. It's just as crazy, and what I think is kind of amazing is that they didn't blow all of the character arcs in the first season. I mean, these characters continue to evolve and do different things, and kind of they've managed to keep this continually interesting and stuff. And if you like the first season, I think you're going to like the second season too. I'm about maybe 3 or 4 episodes in, and it's just as crazy and interesting as the first season was, I think. Scott, you're up next, man.
All right. For those that care about the World Series, Game 6 is going on right now. It's 1-0, the Tampa Bay team, the Tampa Bay Rays, in the bottom of the third. So, with that said, this last Friday, me and the girl Jennifer, the lovely Jennifer, we watched
the lovely Elizabeth.
my girl. Ooh, yeah, Jennifer. Boy. Anyways, we watched Borat 2 or whatever they're calling this movie.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think it was as good as Borat 1. I know there's going to be old people out there who go, I hate that guy. He's stupid. And that's going to be like my dad's take on this and everything. But it was enjoyable to kind of watch. It probably would have been more fun to watch on the big screen, but we don't have that anymore. So I think I'm pretty sure that, without getting political here, that like people who are hardcore Democrats are going to love it, and people who are hardcore Republicans are going to hate it. And I think both sides should realize like this just shows you how stupid most politicians are. These old 70-year-old guys who make decisions for us, and I'll just leave it at that. It was good. There was good parts. I'm glad I saw it, but it wasn't as good as the first one. With that said, that's my movie I've seen, and I'm going to turn this light on really quick because I want to talk about, if I can do this. All right. Oh, wow. Look at that. This will drop officially tomorrow at your local comic shop, and I advise, if you're this much interested, you go to the store as soon as they're open to try to get a copy, because this thing had pre-orders for 125,000 copies, and they only printed it to 100,000 copies. They've already said they're going to do a second printing, but for those who want a copy of this
Why
book,
did they miss that so much?
according to my shop guy, he said that they allowed you to keep ordering books, even though they already set a print run. So I just think they didn't think this book would sell as much as
they underestimated.
And
they had it going to the printer.
So he said that copies are already going for like $15-$20 on eBay. Now the book is not cheap. It's $8.99, and the book I'm talking about, if I can do this without
I want one of those.
It's called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin. This is a future story about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, if you get what I'm saying. And I read this right before the show. All I'm going to say is it's very good, and then I'm going to tell you what I liked about it on a Scott Prime review, which I plan on recording right after this show, which hopefully will be up tomorrow, so it's really topical. Anyways, get out and get you a copy. If you're a nerd, I heard Josh go, oh man, well, get your butt out tomorrow and be waiting in line when your shop opens, because our store ordered, I can't remember how many copies, but all the orders got allocated, at least his, and he claims that others did too, by about 20%. So
I don't even have a comic book shop near me. That's what sucks.
Well, then you're gonna.
I hear that a lot.
Either wait for the second printing, which I'm sure will be cool too, and I mean, you still get to read it.
Yeah, well, I got a buddy of the comic book shop that was in Delaware that I used to always patron. I could probably call him up and get one. He was able to get me the last copy of The Walking Dead, so I'm sure I can get a copy from him.
Which also was a surprise, by the way. They didn't announce that was going to be the last issue of The Walking Dead. They just kind of surprised it, which is kind of cool, actually. But
Dirk, if you want a copy, you need to try to get up before 11 and call that, or 10.
Good luck on that, man.
You're just gonna sleep through it instead of trying to get you a copy. But
I'd have to drive in the ice.
No, you'd call them and reserve it for you.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll do that.
Fool.
All right, I'll do that then.
Man, it's 2020. You frustrate me at times.
I know I do.
Welcome to the party.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Anyways, look for a Prime review on the comic. Hopefully tomorrow.
Could you kind of flip through that for a second to see what it looks like on the inside?
So nobody will come watch the Prime review?
Is it color or is it grayscale?
I mean, it just looks pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
I mean, is it like that on the inside? Okay, cool. That's all I wanted to see. It looks great. Yeah, it looks great.
Spoilers.
Oh, great. Now I know who it is. Thanks. Oh.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to see.
It has a lot of people working on it. It's not going to be as simple. This guy wrote it and this guy drew it. There's teams of different artists did one special page.
Can I say something about it?
Sure.
Or do you want to wait for your deal? This was written back in the 80s before the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles took off. And so it was written by Eastman and Laird back in the kind of mid to late 80s before it became like an animated series. And so I think it's very interesting that this was kind of something that they had planned long ago, back when the TMNT was serious. For those who read the original series, this was something that was meant to be super cool at the time and never got produced. So I think it's very interesting that they dug this out of nowhere.
Yeah, the Turtles used to wear all red bandanas and just had different weapons. Not had purple, orange, blue, red. So
no.
Yeah.
Who published it? Was it
this is IDW book.
Yeah,
the same people who produced the regular Teenage Mutant Ninja comic that's over 100 issues. I've been reading those in trade paperbacks, and they're very good. So
are they?
If you were a fan, the latest, they have some collections that collects like 12 issues at a time type deal, and I kind of I wanted to enjoy it, but not love it enough to keep picking them up. But I kind of love it enough to keep picking it up. So
it reads better as a set. Like I always thought Walking Dead read better in a collection than just one issue.
One issues.
For
Josh,
sure.
I can't answer that because I haven't read any of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle books singly, so I can't tell you if it reads better or not. So
yeah.
By the way, if you're into digital comics, it is available on Comixology for pre-order, I assume, for tomorrow.
There you go. You say pre-order?
It's currently listed as pre-order.
Yeah, they're not going to release it probably till tomorrow.
You can pay for it
it's-
now, and
it's
then
embargoed. Okay.
you'll probably read it tomorrow.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. So like
Eight.
maybe at midnight you'll get that.
Maybe.
After you go bid on Crimson Woods, you can go check Comixology and see if you can.
Right. What you do is bid on Crimson Woods, and then tomorrow morning you wake up, if you're Dirk, about 2:00 and have breakfast and read your comic.
Right.
You can also pre-order the issue number 2 as well.
I would definitely tell your stores if you want issue number 2.
All right. That is cool. Well,
Yeah,
we're out of this. Let's. Michelle says she watched The Boys season 2 as well, and it's such a wild ride. And she says she loves it. And Mike says, "Guess I'll sneak off campus for lunch and grab an issue of the what is it called? The Last Ronin."
The Last Ronin. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin. I mean, people at work have been coming up to me for months now going, my husband talks about this thing. What is this? A lady at work already pre-bought all the copies, and, he hasn't bought comics in years. Other people have talked to me about it, so it's got quite a bit of hype. I really think the store probably made a mistake of not ordering more copies for once.
Apparently everyone did.
So,
What's the cover price on that?
well, it's expensive. It's $8.99, but, comics nowadays,
It looks like a prestige format.
it is prestige
It
format.
looks like it's pretty thick.
It is.
Like how many pages? 48?
It's 40 pages. So it has, for the last 8 pages, there's ads. So,
And it's glossy and it's colorful.
yeah, it's a big format book, and they're a
If you're into
smaller
that.
publisher, so it was. I did not feel ripped off. Now, I never want to pay $8.99 for a book, so don't get me wrong on that. But I really, you'll find
You
out.
think it's worth it?
You'll find out in the Scott Prime review later.
Hey, and by the way, when we post this on YouTube, I will put a card on there that will lead to his review. So check that maybe tomorrow if you don't just see the thing that he puts up there.
Sounds good.
All right, we're on to our last section, which is it's promo time. So what we're going to do is do a rundown of the places you need to check us out. And first we will go to our guest, which is Josh.
Yeah. So sorry. Special guest.
Oh, we
Mal
did so
popped up.
we did so good the whole episode, and now
Yeah. That
someone
studio
wants-
audience. I'm
someone
telling
wants
you.
in on this.
Yeah. So yeah. Real quick, I
Just
guess
tell them where to go.
you can come check. Just go to Kickstarter.com. Search Crimson Woods. That's probably going to be the easiest way for anybody to find me on the Kickstarter. On Facebook, you can search the groups for Crimson Woods. We got a group in there, about 200 plus strong. That just a bunch of people, like-minded people talking
You
about.
got to
the
change
movie
that
itself.
name, man.
And-
So it says Crimson Woods.
Yeah. And then trying to think of where else you can find me.
How about that? How about your website?
Oh yeah, campcrimsonwoods.com. It's go there. It's got a bunch of artwork all over it. It's got a link to the Kickstarter page. It's got just a whole bunch of fun Kickstarter Crimson Woods information if you want to go check that out.
That's super easy to remember too. So that's also that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's going to work well for you.
So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for where you can find me at.
All right, Sean, you are up next, buddy.
Promotion. Right now, I don't have any artwork to promote. I've been working on our friend Robert's Tasty Treats number 1. It's a new volume. Working on the redesigning the header and also writing a little bit of a story for that. So I've been doing a lot of work, just not a whole lot I can show off at the moment. But in the meantime, feel free to go to rankingstudios.com to check out anything that we might be working on or any artwork that we have up for you to peruse, convention photos, so on and so forth. Or you can also check our stuff out at facebook.com/rankingstudios. to check out anything cool and happening over there, feel free to drop us a line on either place and just let us know what you think. Let us know what you'd like to see in the future. Let us know if you hate our guts or if you love us dearly. Please feel free.
Yeah, a little commentary would be appreciated.
Please.
All right, Scott, you're up.
All right, before I go on, Dirk, check the private messages. Now, I'm
Gotcha.
going to go on. You can catch me over at bothdown.com. You can catch me over...
Red alert!
You can catch me over on bothdown.com. We just released a brand new episode 113. If you're into Blood Bowl or Blood Bowl fluff or just gaming in general and stuff like that, you can catch me over there.
Or gingers. If you're into gingers.
Plump gingers that are really funny, you can catch us there.
Right.
I lost track of what else I was going to promote here.
Well, you could do your Facebook group.
All right. Well, I have a
That's
Facebook
not what you're
group.
thinking, though, is it?
No, my Facebook page, it's right there in front of Dirk. You threw me off.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
No, that's good. Man, I cannot remember. Man, this is what's called getting older. Oh,
how about promo for tomorrow?
I do remember what I was going to say.
Okay.
Sean's exactly right. If you're watching this and you made it to the end, or you just fast forward to this end,
Right.
we had a get together this weekend where we had some people in audience that are our friends who finally spoke up on some thoughts and ideas about the show that they never told us before. And my complaint was, why didn't you tell us this before? You have to speak up. You're not going to hurt our feelings. You're not going to make us cry. If we don't like your idea or your thought, we'll just brush it off and say like you're just silly. But we need to hear it. So please like the show on the YouTubes and everywhere else, and subscribe. Do all those fun, wonderful things to help us out. Share us, and if you have a guest suggestion, please have them contact us.
Oh.
That works?
That just reminded me of something. Scott, when you were over here, you mentioned a fantasy novel that you said that you were reading. Do you remember the name of it?
A fantasy? Me? A book?
Yeah.
Was it Odd in the Frost Giants a long time ago?
Something with Fabio on the cover?
I know that I didn't dream this.
I'm not reading any books right now, so that would... Was it
I will
sure?
also say that if anybody wants to see a 400-pound fat man cry, once this game gets funded, I'll go live like right before we hit that 16K, and I will be bawling my eyes out.
Wow,
that's great, Josh.
Be sure
I hope
to
that
send us
happens.
the link so we can broadcast that.
Josh, you're on the right path. That's for sure. So keep plugging away at it constantly, and try not to reload that web page every second like you probably are, because I would be doing the same thing.
Yeah, this whole time it's just one click away. I'm reloading it.
I got you.
All right, this fantasy novel. This was not you that you said you were reading this.
No, not at all.
Who the heck told me that? Did I have a dream about this? Anyway, the guy who wrote this, Souls of Magic's Dawn, which is G.A. Lungaro.
Okay.
He will be on the episode next week.
Oh, that is awesome.
And he's also doing a comic book. So he is a fantasy author and comic book author, which is right up our alley. So I wanted to make sure to get that in there. And there it is. If you are interested in what I'm doing, please drop by my Twitter address because it's blowing up. It's twitter.com/DirkHooperPlus. And I'm talking to a bunch of comic book people on there. Matter of fact, I talked to him on there, and that's part of the reason why we hooked him up on the show. Also, please visit my Facebook page, which is Dirk Hooper Artworks, to see some stuff that I've been doing. I haven't been doing a lot lately, but anyway, you can see the old stuff that I'm doing, and you can wait for the cool new stuff that I'm doing. And you can find it right there, Dirk Hooper Artworks. That's what I've got. All right, let's back out of here. I think we have a comment or two. I've got a private chat.
There goes a tree limb.
Oh, Josh, you absolutely can plug something else. Go do it.
Yeah, so I'm really good. Well, I wouldn't say really good friends, but I'm pretty good friends with the comic book artist Mark McKenna, and he has.
Are you really?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
He has a Kickstarter that's going on right now for his Banana Tales, and he's not getting a whole lot of love. So if anybody has ever checked out or hasn't checked out his kid book Banana Tales, it's awesome. It's a great little kid book. He's got a bunch of added bonus stuff with it, like coloring pages and stuff like that. So if you know anybody or have anybody that or know anybody that might have like grandkids, kids, nieces, nephews that are like about in the, I would say like, yeah, elementary. It's like 3 to 8 age range. Banana Tales would probably be great for them. I know I got a bunch of the books when my kids were all younger. So he, like I said, he's trying to do some collections of the older books and also releasing a new book, I believe. And so if you guys want to shoot over there and give him some love, I'm sure he would appreciate it. And I don't think the tiers aren't too crazy either.
Where do they need to go? What's the name of it?
Let me see if I can find it real quick while you guys are doing whatever else you need to do.
Josh,
that's all right. Go ahead.
Just to be sure, this is Mark McKenna. If I remember right, he did a lot of inking for Marvel. He also did his own art as well. Okay. He's the guy I remember for like Exiles. He inked a lot of Jim Calaforce stuff. So yeah, I know who Mark McKenna is. That is really cool that you're friends with him. You need to tell him to get
why
his
don't you
butt on our show.
Yeah, why don't you tell him we'd like to talk to him on the show and help him out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely will do. I will definitely pass it along. If you just Google search Banana Tales,
it goes right to it.
It goes right to it. Yeah, so it's Banana Tales and Activities. He's got 23 days left. He's only looking for $1,000 goal, and he's sitting at 534 with 15 backers. So he's a little over halfway, but he's been up here for a little while as well. And I mean, you're looking at, $10 gets you the book, the short story book of the Banana Tales and Activities. And then there's a bunch of add-ons that you can just keep on getting, like some of his older books. And Mark's always really good about autographing everything for anyone. And but yeah, I'll shoot him a message and tell him.
That's a great plug that you gave him. Tell him to come on the show. We'll give him a feature.
Yeah, I will hit him up and see if he is. I'm pretty sure he would be. So we'll see.
Awesome.
Love to have him on. And look at Scott he pulled out the credits out of nowhere. What?
Dude, I got. Besides all the other stuff I'm known for splurting out, I have a lot of other junk in here.
Yeah. The way I ended up meeting him and being friends with him was Punisher. I mean, I commissioned him for a piece, and then
That's cool.
It's just been pretty much all. So.
Well, Josh, thanks for coming on tonight.
Hang on a second. Look at this.
Oh,
there it is. Yep.
Hey now. There it is on Kickstarter right there, folks. Did you just do a search for that, Sean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Banana Tales.
He's a little over halfway.
Cool.
Very cool.
Well, Josh, thanks for coming on again.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. We got from Ben. He says he's not been able to catch us for a while, and he's just now watching the last few minutes, and he has to watch it later on YouTube.
That's okay, Ben. You can watch us on the YouTubes and like and comment and subscribe and send it to all your family.
If you are going to watch us on YouTube, then you should check us out right there at youtube.com /C/Taskforce Geek. You can see the latest episode, and you can see Scott's review of The Last Ronin, which is pretty cool. Does anyone have anything else they want to add?
No, I think we should wrap this up before the ice storm gets us. I hear stuff crashing too.
I know. Well, no kidding. All right. Well, thanks to our panel very much. Josh, thank you for being on the show. We sure appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks also to you guys for helping me out with everything. And I guess that's it for Sean, for Scott, and for Josh. This is Dark Cooper saying Happy Halloween. And until next time, dream hard.